Hello, Zennistrad. This is a response to your video entitled RE the Scythian, Positive Female Characters, in which you give your evaluation and critique of Sarkeesian's latest video. I didn't make a response to that video because actually I thought her video was relatively well done, if a little irrelevant. But when I heard you say the following, I decided to make a response.
A lot of people I've seen are misinterpreting her message to mean that a blank slate is the ideal female character, but that's not what she's saying. What she's saying is that within the domain of blank slate characters, the Scythian is an example of a positive female character. Normally when we have a female silent protagonist or a female protagonist who is otherwise a blank slate, their identity is affirmed through the use of gender signifiers, such as the bow that Miss Pac-Man wears. And the reason that this is bad is because male characters, or equivalent male characters, such as Pac-Man, have no gender signifiers, so because they don't have any special signifiers to say that they are male, then we assume that male is the default. A good example of this would be in the original Metroid, where even if you were to avoid reading the manual, which specifically referred to Samus with male pronouns, you would still assume that Samus is a man if you did not know anything else about the game. Even though, if you really think about it, the sprite that you see of her in the game wearing her armor looks fairly gender neutral.
There's a really obvious and harmless reason why the gender of blank slate characters has traditionally been male, or been assumed to be male. And that's because in the past, video games have been primarily designed by and played by men. If a man creates a character, it's more likely he's going to make that character male because it's just much easier to write genuine content when you are writing about things you have actually experienced. Also, if you have a character that is a complete blank slate, but the game they are in is being played by 90% boys and men, they're going to likely project their own gender onto the character and thus assume that the character is male. So when the people who actually played said game discuss it, they're going to talk about the character using male pronouns. My point is, there is absolutely nothing wrong with any of that. And as more women, or trans people, or gay people, or whatever group you want to talk about, start making and playing games, you will naturally see more main characters that fit that description. What I really don't like about Ms. Sarkeesian's videos in general is their implication, as I see it, that the video games industry should adjust itself to act as though games were being made and played by equal numbers of men and women. She seems to expect white men to all start writing games where the major characters are not white men, not because the story demands it, but for the sake of diversity. This kind of forced diversity is actually harmful for the artistic aspects of video games because it forces some video game writers to write from a perspective that they have not actually experienced. Now, some writers are certainly talented enough and imaginative enough to do so effectively, but for those who aren't, forcing them to include diverse characters in their game will actually harm creativity. Essentially what I'm saying is that I'm all for more diversity in video games in every sense of the word. I want it to come naturally though, through encouraging more diverse groups of people to make and play video games. By portraying things like blank slate characters being assumed to be male as a bad thing, all you're doing is demonizing games and gamers. That's all I have to say on this for now. Thank you for listening, and to anyone watching, feel free to like, dislike, subscribe, or share as you see fit. And I wish you all the best.